Yo, what up guys, it's 5D here. It's a Sunday and I have a chill Sunday vibe video right here for you. This one is titled Champions That Cannot Be Killed in One Shot. Yes, you cannot kill these champions in one shot. A lot of people already know these champions, so this is like just a video to go all over them and find out which of them you might not be aware of. Also, I'll be talking about where they are best used and also maybe some tactics or some ways where you can use to counter them if you come across them in battle. Because yes, even if they cannot be killed in one shot, they can surely be killed. So I'll start off strong in this list. I'm here in the champion index because it's not all the champions I own. So I'll start off strong with the first one that is the most powerful out of them in my opinion. This is not a rating system for them or anything. I just feel like this one is the most popular right now, and is Lilias from the Skinwalkers faction, and he's best known as a heavy damage dealing champion because you cannot kill him in one shot. So when he gets a turn, everything in his path will die. So the main skill that we're interested in the most that makes him unkillable is this passive. Most of them all have it on their passive. So that's what is the same with everybody here. And that passive effect says that instantly activates unkillable. No, it's an active effect. Unkillable buff on this champion for one turn before receiving a fatal hit. So before that fatal hit comes in, unkillable goes up on him and he becomes, he survives the hit basically. So he is best known for being used in the arena. That's where this champion is best known. So for how to counter this champion, if you come across this champion in the arena, you want a champion that can place block, buff, debuff, right? Block, buff, debuff champions like that can place it. On my team, I do have Ugo. I also do have Lydia. So those are two champions that you can use to counter a champion like Lilias. So if I place block, buff, debuff, I'm looking for my Lydia right here. Let me show you the skill that makes that possible. I use her A3. So I don't start the battle with going decrease defense and weaken. No. Whenever I see a Lilias, I go for that team, but I place this block, buff, debuff on Lilias. It doesn't only lock out if active skills, it also makes him not be able to go unkillable. Yes, with this block, buff, debuff on him, he will not be able to go unkillable. So a budget version, like I said, you can always use, what's her name? She's in my vault right now. Where is she? I don't want to be looking for champions in this video. Right there, Ugo. So Ugo also has that block, buff, debuff on her AoE skill right there. But it's not one that I would normally bring into the arena for a Lilias because they might be faster. My Lydia is faster than my Ugo. So that's for Lilias on where you can use him arena all the way. When I finally get that champion, that's the content I hope to build him for. But like I said, it can be easily countered with block, buff, debuff. Most of them on this list can have that same solution to them. If they are going to be going unkillable, they have that same solution. Place block, buff, debuff on the Scorecrown and she cannot go unkillable right there. All right. The next one on the list is a Rotos. Yes, Rotos is from the Undead faction, is quite popular in raid, even more popular than Lilias. He has been the leader in one shot, two shot or three shots, depending on how many extra turns it takes. But he's best known for being a one shot nuker. So that's why most people don't like to use him these days in content, because they don't want a one shot. They want to kill everything once in a go. So that's the little limitation that he might have if you're trying to kill PvP content. So the passive right there that makes it possible for him to survive big hits will decrease the damage from enemy hits, so that incoming damage from any single hit will not exceed 50% of this champion's max HP. So he doesn't place unkillable. He just limits the amount of hits you can do to him when you hit him once. Now if you do hit a Rotos once, twice or three times, you will kill him. I'm talking about the solution to this champion is champions that hit multiple times on their nuke. I can already think of what's his name now. I do have this champion, but names are not what I'm thinking about right now. Let me head over to my champion index and get him out of the vault if he is. No, it's not even in the vault. Right there. This is the champion I was trying to remember. Foley. So a Foley is the permanent solution. Whenever I see a Rotos, I just use a Foley. And whenever you use a Foley against Rotos, you always have to target the Rotos. So the extra hit on this damage dealing ability will go to the Rotos. So if you do have other nukers that hit twice or hit 3 times, yes, they can also do the same and take down the Rotos, despite the fact that it says only the first hit can be reduced by 50%. His second, third, fourth hit cannot be reduced. He will go down to those other extra hits that you place on him. So that's the Rotos. He still counts as not being able to be one shot, because it takes 2, 3, 4 hits from a single target also to take him down. So that's the second one right there on my list of champions that cannot be one shot in Raid Shadow Legends. The next one on my list is Brakos the Shifter. Now this one is from the Skinwalkers faction also, right? Let me head back to the Skinwalkers faction. And this champion, I think, was released as part of a Halloween fusion or something like that. And he's an old Raid Shadow Legend champion. He's not like this year or last year. He's quite old. And Brakos the Shifter is a well-designed one that when I found him first time in Raid, I was like, who is this champion? You kill him, he come back to life, and he just nukes you. So he's like very angry and rage infused when he comes back to life like a werewolf. And yeah, it's the passive that makes it possible. Revives this champion with 20% HP when killed. Immediately grants an extra turn. Now the other champions we talked about in the list, they do not grant an extra turn or do anything when they come back to life or when they go unkillable. He comes come back to life and then takes a turn immediately. That's what makes him so special and very, very hard to deal with sometimes in PvP content, because he will definitely kill somebody when he comes back to life, and if he's built well, of course, with enough damage. So that's Brakos the Shifter, and that's a passive effect that makes it possible for him to, you know, damage increases by 40% when this champion HP drops below 40%. That means he brings himself back to life with 20% HP, so he deals extra 40% even damage more. And that passive is on a 5-turn cooldown if you book it. I guess that's why sometimes some people don't like to use him. Some people prefer to use Rotos over this champion. He has really, really fallen off in terms of the nukers tier list in Raid Shadow Legends, but he still does work. He just maybe needs some extra stuff or some buffs put into him to make him more viable in this new current meta in Raid. All right, that's Brakos. If he's a champion that if I pull him, I'll be very, very glad to use him for content. So that's a good one right there. The next one on my list is what's his name? Knockbar. Knockbar is from the Ox faction. If I head over to the Ox, you can see Knockbar is not a common one. Also, it's not one that I've seen in a lot of content. He's a scarce champion, and there he is. He's not the one that a lot of people know about. Yes, so I'm even glad to even remember that he can have this passive or ability to not being able to be killed. But right there, he revives this champion. That means he can be killed, but he comes back to life instantly. So he revives himself. This counts as also not being able to be one shot, right? Because yes, you killed me, but I came back to life, so I'm not really dead, right? So he revives this champion with 50% HP and 50% turn meter when killed, if all other allies are alive. His is a little bit conditional, I know, but it still counts as not being able to be killed. So if other allies are dead, this will not happen. So for him to bring himself back to life when killed, if all other allies are alive, everybody has to be alive for him to come alive. That's why I did not also include one other epic that has the same thing. Like everybody has to die for her to go unkillable. You know, so I guess you know who I'm talking about. I already talked about her right now. Ugo. Yeah, she doesn't come in my list. So Knockbar counts as being able to revive himself when others are alive on the list, but it's not a common one, and that's why a lot of people don't even remember that he has this ability, because sometimes people die before him and so on. So it's not one that I'll rely on at all. But if you do pull this champion, know that he has this on a 1-turn cooldown, so it's gonna be happening a lot if everybody is alive. Or maybe you have him solo. You have him solo going alone. I've seen some people use him for some content, but he's not a common champion in Raid at all. All right, not one I'll be excited about pulling at all. He will go into my vault because I don't think he has a lot of use in Raid. I've not seen him being used any specific content, but I've seen him in the arena. Yes, I've seen him in 1 or 2 arena teams. All right, the next one on my list is Elegaios from the Undead faction of champions that cannot be one-shot. This one does validly qualify for the role of not being able to be one shot in raid. Unfortunately, he's not a nuker like all these other ones I just talked about. He's more of a tanky defense support champion. That's why people don't like him, I guess. But I like champions tank that cannot be killed in one shot. It's a good thing to have a tank that keeps your other allies going or doing some debuffs for the enemies, but you cannot kill them, because that makes them, a target for the enemy while they can survive longer in the team. So prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive on 1 HP when hit by a fatal hit. That's it. So when hit with something that's supposed to kill this champion, he will just go to 1 HP, and if this skill prevents this champion death, heals them by 10%, which will happen. He will also put a shield on himself. So a lot of people hate on this champion. Is one that I one day intend to build and use for content. It's one that I hope to maybe explore someday when I have the books to make him work. Now, where did I use this champion initially, where I took him to 60 in raid? It was for faction wars. This champion is awesome in the faction wars, and I've not seen him being used in defensive team and all that, but he's really, really great for faction wars, because that faction 21 boss that I think he ignores defense or something like, but you need high amount of HP to come in there. This champion becomes a target if you can make this champion a target by making him very, squishy enough to be targeted by that boss. He will be proccing the passive of Elegaios. Maybe you have somebody in there like Gogorab to bring him back to life, and then you can beat that boss when he becomes the target of that boss. So I do have a faction war video about that, where he really helped me in that faction. So that's where I think that's the only content I've personally used Elegaios in. Maybe soon we'll have some new content that we have to explore his unkillable or 1 HP passive right there. All right, we'll move over to the Dwarfs faction right now, where I do have the next one on my list is Samar Gemkos. Samar Gemkos is a dwarf that somewhat also goes unkillable, but his places block damage. That's how he's able to protect himself. So this is on a 4-turn cooldown. He places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn at the start of each round. Does that mean he can be killed? Yes. So at the active effect right there, blocks incoming damage and places block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn when they receive a hit that will drop their HP below 30%. So if the first part of that passive does not make you think he will go unkillable, the second part clearly shows that he will block incoming damage and place block damage buff on himself if the hit that will make him drop below 30% gets to him. So when you hit this champion, he will just go block damage on himself. So this is a 4-turn cooldown, so it won't be happening a lot. That's what I'm saying. It won't happen all the time in battle. Every turn you block damage. No, it will only happen once, most likely, and once that is done, he will die. So the best place I can use this champion, or the best place I've seen this champion being used, is not one I own. The best place I've seen him is against the Boomer boss. That boss that places bombs. It's also good against certain bosses that he solos content. Basically, a lot of people use him to solo content because of this ability to keep himself alive with this block damage and recycle back to his skills and have it available again before fatal hit comes in again for him. So he's often also built in a very high HP, high regeneration set that will bring him back to 100 in full HP before that skill or the boss can kill him. All right, that's Samar Gemkos. If you do have him, remember he has this passive right there which can make him good against Boomal and certain bosses in the Doom Tower that they can't kill him. He will just solo them. So that's what he's being used a lot in raid for. It's not one I own. Hopefully when I get him someday, I'll use him in some content. I've not seen him in the arena either. It's just for that content. So how do you go through that or get through this type of champion? By using an arbiter and just remove his block damage and he's dead. Same thing works against block unkillable champions too. Just use an arbiter and cleanse their whatever buff that is keeping them alive. All right, now it's time for us to head over to the epics category and see which of them can also make themselves go unkillable. Yes, epics can also do it. The first one on my list is going to be the most obvious one, Scorecrown. Yes, I think everybody knows by now that Scorecrown, from the Night Rev faction, is one of the most annoying epic champions in terms of the Nukers category that you can come across in the arena, and also a champion that has eluded my roster all this time, and I've been playing raid for the past 3 years. I don't have this champion, but I do have game-changing epics. So I'm not complaining. Whenever she comes to my roster, she will come. This champion is known to be used as an AoE nuker, especially for what do you call this team that all go in for one target and kill them with Farrakin. Is it a blender? Yeah, a blender comp with a Sinesha. She pairs well with a Sinesha, Scorecrown, and a ally attack champion, and they go in for one champion and nuke everybody at the same time, because she does have AoE hits on all her skills. So the one that keeps her alive, I think, is this one. Places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn every time their HP drops below 20%. When you hear every time, you think it's going to be happening a lot, but no, that's a 4-turn cooldown, so it will most likely happen once in battle. Now, when she goes unkillable, just pray that you have enough HP and survivability to survive these big hits, because she will come in nuking with this ability, and it just, takes everything down. I always come across Scorecrown, and I pair my the best way to counter this champion, I think, is with a champion that can soak up the damage, a Vogot, Osoga, the Warcaller, those champions that can take away the damage from your nukers. So even if she's trying to nuke my Foley, trying to nuke my Candaphon, they will survive that big hit when you have those tank that can soak damage that she's bringing right there. Because most likely, if I bring in a Lydia and I try to place Block Bob debuff on her, right, so she doesn't place her unkillable, she might proc it. My Lydia has enough damage to maybe proc a Scorecrown's unkillable. That's why I don't think it's a wise one to do. I can do it against a Lilias, but against a Scorecrown, I'd rather bring in a tank that will soak up her damage if she gets to use her A2. So that's how to counter this champion, and where to use her, of course, is in the arena. I've also seen some people building for early game content their Scorecrown in a set that can allow them farm, of course, Savage set that can allow them farm the campaign. Yes, she's often used as a campaign farmer because she has AoE on all her skills. This champion is also best known for having unkillable, counter attack. You want to have counter attack accessories on her, a lot of counter attack accessories, so whenever she's hit, she has a chance to use this A1 as much as possible. She pairs well with Sinesha. Like I said, they have some weird passive going along with both of them, that one can be revived when the other one is on the team. I think Sinesha can be revived. All right, that's Scorecrown right there, and I hope to get her one day and put her to good use. The next epic that is on my list in terms of the champions that cannot be one shot in Raid Shadow Legends is Torture Helm. He's from the Ox faction again. Let's head over to the Ox. This is not a popular champion. I've not seen him being used a lot in Raid Shadow Legends content. The only time I've seen people building out this champion is when they need to beat this Ox faction, right? The 21 boss, where they have no other options in terms of epics or legendaries to build for this faction, and he seems like the perfect solution because he can revive this champion with 50% HP when he's killed. 3-turn cooldown right there means it might happen once or twice in battle if you have somebody reviving him sometimes when his own passive is not available. So this champion is very, very hard to kill, and he nukes really, really hard also. So I think it's this skill right there. Damage is proportional to this champion's max HP and increases according to the number of dead allies. So he nukes really, really hard. A hard hitting champion, damage based on HP in all dungeons by 33%. I've also seen some content with him being used in the dragon. Yes, being used to solo the dragon as a dragon farmer, so you can have other champions along with you. All right, that's Torture Helm. Again, not quite popular because his other kit doesn't really synergize well with content that people play in Raid, so he's just best known for faction wars, being a troll right there. All right, Torture Helm, not one that I look forward to building, and I've never built him, and I don't think I'll be building him anytime soon in Raid. Maybe one day they buff him and then he decide to be more useful in other content. The last one on my list, the very last one that I kept for the last, is not like it's the best one. No, I started with from the best all the way to the worst ones where you normally don't even want to build them, is Basilisk. That's from Lizard Men faction, and he's an epic champion, and I currently use this champion as a 4-star in my team. Yes, as a 4-star in my team in against those champions that want to block revive, right? Against a Lilias. So Basilisk has a passive right there that revives this champion to 30% HP when killed and places block damage for 1 turn. So if I head over to where I use this champion right now in raid, it's gonna be 3v3 arena, where when I come against a team that I know will block revive, that's not 3v3 arena, come on Bricks. A team that I know will block revive, and I come in there with my 3rd arena team. Let me show you my 3rd arena team. No, that is not on defense. I don't think it's on defense. It would be on offense. Let me just show a sample right there. I'm looking for a Lilias. The Lilias is what I'm looking for, because some people have their first team going in with a Lilias. Right here, a team like this. So this first team right there, Abita, Lilias. I know that if I go against this, my, what's her name now? Cardinal team, right? That revive everybody and then nukes them. Stone Skin Cardinal. So once I see a team like this, I was like, I have to proc Lilias block revive, else she will block Cardinal's block revive. So I'll take out my worst nuker out of all of them, and then I replace that with a Basilisk. I think he's far down the line of epics on a 4-star level that I just use, keep in the vault, but is still able to proc Lilias block revive and keep my other team alive. Where are you, Basilisk? He's not leveled up at all. If I can find him, there you go. So with a team like this, let me run the battle so you can see exactly what I mean. So of course they will nuke me down, of course they will do all their stuff, but the main thing is Cardinal will be able to use her revive, because Basilisk will proc his block revive. Did I use the right Basilisk? Because one is master, I mean I put ascension on the one while the other one does not have ascensions. Hopefully I use the right one, because without ascension I don't think his block revive will proc. I just use one sample battle and show how it works. Alright, nuke me down. Did it revive? Yes, that's it. Denied. So right now they have procced their block revive from Lilias. That means they can now nuke me down. Come on, nuke me down. Why are you nuking the wrong person? There we go. Now I can now use my own revive, because Lilias has used her block revive. So that's just a little tip where I use that champion. I know it's not the best way to use him. I've seen him being used in Doom Tower. You see, Lilias could not do a block revive right now, and I can go in. Whoop, and don't let her revive anybody. And I use killer with the A1. I didn't kill her with the A1. Can you do it? No. I'm about to risk it all. Alright, that's how I use Basilisk. And yeah, I'm not going to be finishing the rest of that battle, because I'm not interested in 3v3 arena right now. So that's what I wanted to show in this video, guys. A chill Sunday video to showcase some of Raid's champions that cannot be killed in one shot. And even if you do kill them in one shot, they will come back to life, revive themselves, and be a menace in your team, or against your team right there. If you have any of these champions, let me know in the comments how you use them besides the ways I showcase them, or the ways I mentioned them right there. Also, if this is not all the champions in Raid Shadow Legends that cannot be unkillable, because I just went through the list and I picked these ones from my knowledge in Raid. Maybe I'm missing out one or two. Let me know in the comments which one I missed out on that cannot be killed in one shot in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm not talking about the ones that revive somebody else. I'm talking about the ones that can revive themselves through unkillable, block damage, any passive that can make them not being able to be one shot. So if you do have any of these champions, you know where they are used now, and which ones are popular, which ones can be, also how to counter them is also how I showed in this video. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this chill Sunday video from me. I appreciate a like on this video right now if you watch all the way to the end, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you've not done so already. I published awesome Raid Shadow Legends content like this. Good night, guys.